Welcome our dear student to this new video about the human skeleton. We are going to talk about the human skeleton and we are going to realize how important it is. It is very important during locomotion. For example, as you can see, during movement and or locomotion or walking, the skeleton is very important. Even when it comes to dancing, it is just because of the skeleton. Okay. The skeleton is made up of very many bones, around 300 bones. That is during childhood or during development. But as the baby grows and develops, some of the bones fuse up and then they end up reducing to around 260 bones. So a mature individual will have actually those bones. So we have two categories of the skeleton, or we have two divisions. There are two divisions of the human skeleton. It is divided into the axial division and the appendicular division. Okay, so we are going to begin with the axial division or the axial skeleton. The axial skeleton is made up of the skull. It is made up of the vertebral column, made up of the rib cage. So the skull, the vertebral column, rib cage make up what we call the axial skeleton. The axial skeleton performs less or little of movement because most of the bones are static. For example, the skull, the ribs, it is only the vertebral column that has some degree of movement because the vertebra have what we call intervertebral discs, which are used which give some bit of flexibility. The other kind of division is the appendicular skeleton. The appendicular skeleton is made up of the arms, then the other one is the pelvis or the hip bone, and then the lower or leg extremities. These ones basically participate in the process of locomotion, and as we can see, it is made up of long bones. It is made up of long bones which play a role. Beginning with the long bones, we have the upper appendicular skeleton, which is made up of the clavicle bone, which we normally call the collarbone. As we can see, it is also made up of the scapular bone. We normally call it the backbone. It is large and broad. This is to increase surface area for muscle attachment. Next to it, we have the humerus, which is also a long bone. The humerus, where we have attachment of muscles, the biceps and the triceps. We also have the two bones, which we normally call the radius and the ulna. Radius and the ulna. We also have the carpus and then the metacarpus. We have the carpus and the metacarpus. So the radius and ulna are two, and they form the arm. Okay. Then the carpus are 8 of them, and then we have the other. So when we go to the lower part of the appendicular skeleton, it is made up of the hip bone and then the lower bones. We have the ilium, the ischium, and the pubis forming the hip bone. From there, it is connected to the femur bone. It is connected to the femur bone. The femur bone is normally called the thigh bone, where we have the muscles of the thigh attached. It is joined to two bones, the tibia and the fibula. The tibia and fibula found in the legs, the lower part of the leg, and then just down in the foot we have the tarsal bones, the metatarsals, and the phalanges. Let's have a recap of the two divisions of the human skeleton. We have the axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. So the two divisions include the axial and appendicular skeleton. Okay. Now, Let us look into the axioskeleton in detail. The axioskeleton forms the main trunk and consists of the skull, the spinal column, ribs, and the sternum. The sternum is normally called the breastbone, composed of 8 different bones. And when you look at the vertebral column, sometimes called the spinal column, it is made up of 26 vertebrae, an intervertebral disc between each vertebra. And when we look at the spinal column, protects the spinal cord, but invertebral disc acts as shock absorbers because they have cartilage surrounding them. Okay, so now we talk about the appendicular skeleton in brief. It has the upper appendicular skeleton and lower appendicular skeleton. We begin with the upper appendicular skeleton, made up of the shoulder bone, and then the upper limb that has the humerus, the radius and ulna, carpals, metacarpals, and pharynges that has a total of 64 bones. The lower appendicular skeleton has the hip bone. The lower appendicular skeleton has the hip bone, the femur, patella, tibia, fibula, tarsal, metatarsals, and pharynges, making it a total of 62 bones. Alright, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have learned something about the skeleton.